Right now, someone close to you knows something about you that you do not know yet. Somewhere in your circle, a friend, a family member, someone who smiles at you every single day. There is a truth being kept from you on purpose. And God does not want you walking into tomorrow blind. He is calling your name right now, in this exact moment. Because what you're about to hear is not a coincidence. You did not open this video by accident. Something led you here. Something whispered to your spirit. Stop scrolling. This one is for you. So if you feel a strange stirring in your chest right now, a tightness, a knowing, do not ignore it. That is not fear. That is discernment waking up after being asleep for far too long. And in the next few minutes, God is going to show you exactly what that feeling means, who it points to, and what you're supposed to do about it. Stay with me until the very end, because the third sign I'm about to share is the one almost everyone misses. And missing it is exactly what the enemy is counting on. Let me tell you something that most people are too afraid to say out loud. Not every smile is honest. Not every hug is safe. Not every person who says I love you actually means it with their whole heart. Some people wear closeness like a mask. They sit at your table. They laugh at your jokes. They remember your birthday, and behind that same face, they are holding a piece of information that could change everything you believe about your life right now. God sees it. He has always seen it. And He has been trying to get your attention for weeks, maybe months, through small things you brushed off as nothing. A sudden silence when you walked into the room. A story that did not quite add up. A gut feeling you talked yourself out of because you did not want to believe someone you love could do that to you. I want you to think back for a second. Has there been a moment recently where someone got strangely defensive over a simple question? Has there been a moment where two people stopped talking the second you appeared? Has there been a moment where you asked a simple thing and the answer came a little too fast, a little too rehearsed, like it had been practiced in a mirror? That is not paranoia. That is your spirit picking up on something your mind has not caught up to yet. And today, we are going to catch up together. This is not about fear. I need you to hear that clearly. God is not showing you this so you can live suspicious of everyone around you, jumping at shadows, questioning every person who has ever cared for you. That is not what this is. This is about protection. This is about a father who loves you so much that he refuses to let you keep walking forward while someone quietly digs a hole in front of your feet. He is not trying to destroy your relationships. He is trying to save you from the version of your future where you find out the truth too late, after the damage is already done, after the trust is already broken beyond repair, after you have already given away pieces of yourself to someone who was never being honest with you in the first place. Here is the first sign, and I want you to really sit with this one. When someone is hiding something from you, their patience around the subject gets shorter, not longer. Watch how quickly a topic gets shut down. Watch how fast the conversation gets redirected the moment it drifts too close to something specific. A person with nothing to hide will sit in a conversation, even an uncomfortable one, because they have nothing they are protecting. But a person hiding truth cannot afford to let that conversation breathe. They will change the subject, crack a joke, get suddenly busy, or worse, turn the questions back onto you, making you feel like the one being unreasonable for simply asking. If you have experienced that recently and brushed it off as them just being tired or stressed, I want you to reconsider that moment right now because your spirit already flagged it before your mind did. But that is not even the part that is going to surprise you. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next is the piece nobody prepares you for. The second sign is harder to notice because it does not look like hiding at all. It looks like generosity. It looks like extra kindness. It looks like someone suddenly being more attentive, more helpful, more present than they usually are. People assume that guilt makes a person distant, but very often it does the opposite. Guilt makes a person overcompensate. They cannot sit still with what they know. So they try to balance the scale by being sweeter, by doing more, by showering you with small acts of affection that feel just slightly out of pattern. If someone in your life has recently become unusually generous, unusually complimentary, unusually eager to please you in ways that feel a little unfamiliar, do not just accept it at face value. Ask your spirit what it senses underneath that behavior. Sometimes kindness is simply kindness. But sometimes kindness is a cover a quiet apology for something that has not been confessed yet, wrapped in gestures instead of words, because words would require the truth to come out. I know this might be hitting closer to home than you expected. Take a breath. You are exactly where you need to be right now, and God is not finished speaking. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Grace, because her story mirrors what so many people are living through right now without even realizing it. Grace had a close friend, someone she trusted completely, someone she had known for years, for months. Grace felt a strange unease whenever this friend was around, a feeling she could not explain, and eventually convinced herself she was imagining. She told herself she was being dramatic. She told herself trust meant not questioning people you love. She silenced the very warning God had placed inside her because she did not want to believe someone close to her could be capable of dishonesty. Months later, the truth came out anyway, the way truth always eventually does. And when it did, Grace realized the signs had been there the entire time. The defensiveness, the overcompensating kindness, the strange silences. God had been trying to prepare her heart long before the truth arrived. Not to hurt her, but so the blow would not shatter her when it finally landed. She said later that the hardest part was not discovering the truth. The hardest part was realizing she had ignored the warning for so long that she had to relearn how to trust her own discernment again. That is what I do not want for you. I do not want you finding out later and thinking, deep down I already knew. I want you to listen to what you already know right now, while there is still time to walk in wisdom instead of shock. Here is the third sign, the one I promised you at the beginning, the one that almost everyone overlooks because it does not feel dramatic enough to notice. It is inconsistency in small details, not big lies, small ones, a story that shifts slightly each time it is told. A timeline that does not quite match up. A detail that was one way last month and a different way this month, with no explanation for the change. Liars are rarely careless with the big picture. They rehearse the big picture. What they cannot control is every tiny detail across every single retelling. If you have noticed small inconsistencies in what someone has told you, things so minor you talked yourself out of caring, I want you to pay attention to that pattern now, because patterns do not lie even when people do. Now, I need to pause here and speak directly to you, because I sense there is a specific person coming to mind as you listen to this. Maybe it is a partner. Maybe it is a sibling. Maybe it is a close friend you have defended to other people, even while something inside you quietly questioned them. I am not here to tell you who it is. Only God knows that with certainty, and only He can reveal it to you in a way your heart is ready to receive. But I am here to tell you this. The discomfort you have been feeling is not something to be ashamed of. It is not betrayal to notice inconsistency. It is not paranoia to ask questions. It is not disloyalty to protect your own peace. Wisdom is not the opposite of love. Wisdom is what makes love sustainable. Because love without truth eventually collapses under the weight of what it was never allowed to see. Stay with me, because there is a turning point coming, and it might not be the one you expect. Here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. This message is not meant to make you afraid of the people around you. It is meant to make you awake to the difference between fear and discernment, because most people confuse the two their entire lives. Fear says, everyone is against you. Discernment simply says, pay attention. Fear isolates you from everyone. Discernment simply protects you from the wrong ones while still leaving room for the right ones to stay close. If you walk away from this video treating every person in your life like a suspect, you have misunderstood what God is trying to give you. He is not handing you a weapon to use against the people you love. He is handing you a lantern, so you can walk through the dark parts of your relationships without stumbling blindly into pain you never saw coming. And here is the turning point. The truth being hidden from you is not the end of your story. It might feel that way right now, especially if a name or a face has already come to mind while you were listening. It might feel like the moment that truth surfaces, everything falls apart. But I want you to consider a different possibility. What if this revelation is not the ending God is writing for you? What if it is actually the beginning of a version of your life with far less confusion in it? Think about how much energy you have spent lately feeling unsettled without knowing why. Think about how much peace you have lost trying to convince yourself that everything is fine when some part of you already knew it was not. Truth, even painful truth, has a strange kind of mercy inside it. It ends the exhausting work of pretending. It lets you finally stand on solid ground instead of shifting sand. What feels like the collapse of something is often actually the removal of something that was never meant to hold weight in your life in the first place. I know this is a lot to sit with. I know some of you are replaying conversations in your head right now, seeing them differently than you did 5 minutes ago. That is not a coincidence either. That is God sharpening your discernment in real time, giving you back a clarity that fear and self-doubt have been clouding for far too long. But I have to be honest with you about something, because this message would not be complete without it. Discernment without wisdom can turn into destruction. Knowing something is being hidden from you does not give you permission to burn down every relationship in a moment of hurt and anger. It gives you permission to ask better questions. It gives you permission to watch more closely. It gives you permission to protect your heart while still giving people the space to be honest before you react. Confrontation without preparation often pushes truth further into hiding instead of drawing it out. So before you say anything to anyone, before you accuse or confront or demand answers, I want you to take this to God first. Not to your group chat, not to social media, not to the person who will only tell you what you want to hear. Take it to the one who already sees the full picture, because he is not withholding it from you out of cruelty. He is preparing you to receive it with strength instead of shattering under its weight. There is something else I need to say, and I say this gently, because I know it might sting a little. Sometimes the truth being hidden is not about someone else's dishonesty at all. Sometimes it is about your own willingness to ignore red flags, because the alternative, being alone, being wrong about someone, starting over, feels more painful than staying in the discomfort of not knowing. If that is you right now, hear this without shame. Recognizing that you have been avoiding a truth is not weakness. It is the first step toward the exact freedom you have been quietly praying for, even if you have not said the words out loud yet. Let me bring you back to Grace for a moment, because her story does not end where I left it earlier. After the truth came out, after the initial pain of confirmation, Grace said something that stayed with everyone who heard it. She said the moment she stopped fighting the truth and simply accepted it, a weight lifted off her chest that she did not even realize she had been carrying. She said the anxiety she felt for months, the unexplainable heaviness, the sense that something was wrong even when she could not name it, all of it made sense the moment the hidden thing became visible. And more than that, she said, peace returned to her faster once the truth was known than it ever did while she was living in the uncertainty of almost knowing. That is the part people forget. Uncertainty is often more exhausting than the truth itself, no matter how difficult that truth turns out to be. So if you're sitting there right now with a name in your mind, a face, a feeling you cannot quite explain, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not crazy for sensing what you sense. You are not overreacting for noticing what you have noticed. And you are not alone in this moment, because God has been walking beside you through every single one of those uneasy nights, every unanswered question, every quiet ache you have not told anyone about. He has not been silent. He has been preparing you, sign by sign, moment by moment, for a clarity that is closer than you think. I want to ask you to do something before this video ends. Something small but important. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to whisper this, even quietly under your breath. God, show me what I need to see, and give me the strength to handle it with grace. That is not a complicated prayer, but it is a powerful one, because it invites truth in without inviting bitterness along with it. It asks for revelation without asking for revenge. And that distinction matters more than most people realize, because the way you receive truth shapes what you become after you receive it. Here is something I have noticed after walking through seasons like this myself. The people who come out of hidden truth stronger are never the ones who reacted the fastest. They are the ones who paused long enough to let God go first. They gathered their peace before they gathered their words. They protected their spirit before they protected their pride. And on the other side of that patience, they found something they did not expect. Not just clarity about the other person, but clarity about themselves, about what they will and will not accept moving forward, about the kind of honesty they deserve to be surrounded by for the rest of their life. Before we go further, let me give you a fourth sign, because I promised you the third one would surprise you, but this last one is the one that ties everything else together. Watch for a sudden increase in the phrase, "trust me." People who are being fully honest rarely need to remind you to trust them because their consistency does that work automatically without a single word attached to it. But when someone starts saying "trust me" more often than usual, especially in moments where nothing was even in question, pay close attention. It is often not reassurance. It is often a quiet attempt to get ahead of a doubt they know is coming before you even have the chance to feel it for yourself. That single phrase, repeated in the wrong moments, has unraveled more hidden truths than almost anything else, simply because it draws attention to the very thing it is trying to cover. I also want to speak to those of you who are not thinking of a friend or a partner right now, but a parent, or a sibling, or someone within your own family. This can feel even harder to face, because family carries a different kind of loyalty, a different kind of history, a different kind of fear about what happens if the truth changes everything you thought you knew about where you come from. I want you to know that God's protection does not stop at the edge of blood relation. He is not asking you to abandon your family. He is asking you to stop excusing dishonesty simply because of a shared last name or a shared childhood. Truth matters just as much within a family as it does anywhere else. And sometimes the hardest hidden things to face are the ones closest to home, because we have spent our whole lives building a story about that person that we are terrified to let go of. Let me widen this a little further, because hidden truth does not only show up between two people. Sometimes it shows up as a hidden truth about a situation, a job that is not what it seems, a financial decision someone made without telling you, a health concern being kept quiet out of fear of worrying you, a decision already made behind closed doors that will eventually affect your life whether you were consulted or not. If your spirit has been unsettled lately and no single face comes to mind, consider that the hidden thing might not be a person at all, but a circumstance, something being built or unraveling in the background of your life that has not been spoken aloud yet. God's warning is not limited to relationships. It extends to every corner of your life where the truth matters and where you deserve to walk forward with open eyes instead of closed ones. I want to give you something practical now, something you can actually hold on to after this video ends, because awareness without action tends to fade within a few days, and I do not want that for you. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to sit quietly for just a few minutes and ask yourself 3 questions. First, where in my life have I felt unsettled without being able to explain why? Second, whose name or whose situation keeps returning to my mind even when I try to think about something else? Third, what is one small step I can take this week to seek clarity instead of staying in avoidance? You do not need the full answer tonight. You do not need to confront anyone tomorrow morning. You simply need to stop pretending you have not noticed what you have already noticed, because that pretending is the very thing keeping you stuck in this uneasy place. I also want to gently warn you about something, because discernment, once it wakes up, can sometimes overcorrect. After a season of hidden truth is revealed, some people swing so far in the other direction that they stop trusting anyone at all, treating every relationship afterward with suspicion instead of wisdom. That is not the freedom God is offering you. He is not asking you to build walls around your heart for the rest of your life. He is asking you to build discernment, which is very different. A wall keeps everyone out equally, the honest and the dishonest alike. Discernment lets the honest ones stay close, while gently, wisely, without drama, releasing the ones who were never being truthful with you in the first place. Do not let this season turn you cold. Let it turn you wise instead. If this message has stirred something in you, if a specific moment or a specific person has been sitting in your mind this entire time, I want you to take that seriously. Do not shrink it back down to nothing the second this video ends. Do not talk yourself out of what you already know deep inside. Write it down if you need to. Pray over it tonight. Ask God for the next step, not the whole picture all at once. Just the next step. Because that is usually how He reveals truth, piece by piece, exactly as much as your heart can carry at any given moment. And before you go, I want to remind you of something important. Whatever is hidden will eventually come to light. That has always been true, and it will always be true.
The only question is whether you will walk into that light prepared, with your peace intact and your discernment sharpened, or whether it will catch you off guard because you silenced the very warnings God placed inside you to protect you. You do not have to live in fear of what is coming. You simply have to stay awake, stay prayerful, and trust that the same God who is revealing this to you now is more than capable of walking you through whatever comes next. If this message spoke to you, if something in your spirit confirmed what you have been sensing for a while now, I want you to type the word Amen in the comments below, not as a performance, but as a declaration that you are ready to walk in truth instead of denial. Share this with someone you know needs to hear it today, because someone in your circle right now is fighting the exact same battle you were fighting 5 minutes ago, wondering if they are imagining things, wondering if they are wrong for noticing what they have noticed. Let them know they are not alone either. And if you want to keep growing in discernment, keep walking in wisdom, keep staying awake to the truth God is constantly trying to reveal to you, make sure you are subscribed and staying close to this channel, because this is only the beginning of what He wants to show you. There is more coming, more clarity, more confirmation, more peace, waiting on the other side of every hidden thing He is preparing to bring into the light. Stay faithful, stay watchful, and trust that the same God who saw this coming long before you did is already working it out for your good, exactly the way He always has.